Prince Marketing and the Seven Agencies by Darren Woolley. Once upon a dream in Brandland, the handsome Prince Marketing flourished with the assistance of his faithful fairy ad agency. Fairy ad agency would provide Prince Marketing with everything he needed. She planned and bought his media, created his ads, and more. After all, when Prince Marketing spent his gold on his advertising, Fairy Ad Agency took a handful of gold from the pot for her needs. Together they were inseparable and successful. They made campaigns, went to media-sponsored sporting events, and enjoyed what Prince Marketing described as the perfect partnership. You would think that they were destined to live happily ever after. But there was change afoot in Brandland. The maleficent goblin technology was hard at work providing the common folk of Brandland with the internet. The internet empowered the common folk with the ability to publish and broadcast their thoughts and opinions, then connect with each other to coordinate their activities. Prince Marketing and the other marketing royals were faced with a dilemma. Clearly this internet was a threat to their traditional power to control the messages they broadcast to the common folk. But on the other hand, it was so popular it seemed to be another opportunity to communicate with the folk from whom they ultimately garnered their wealth. Prince Marketing turned to his faithful Fairy Ad Agency for advice, and Fairy Ad Agency gave him the advice she always did. "Let's do some more advertising," she exclaimed. After all, the more gold Prince Marketing spent, the more she could keep for herself. But this strategy didn't work. The internet advertising was largely ignored. One sunny day, Prince Marketing was walking through the forest, pondering this internet problem and the way the common folk were no longer as interested in his messages, when he heard a group of happy little agencies busy at work. In the clearing ahead he saw digital, SEO, SEM, PR, CRM, channel planner and experiential, busy building a brand using techniques that didn't include traditional advertising. Prince Marketing was mesmerised. He'd never seen the common folk so engaged in the work the seven little agencies were doing. He walked into the clearing and introduced himself. "I am Prince Marketing, and I want you to come to my castle and work for me." The seven little agencies looked at each other and nodded in agreement. They followed the prince off to his brand castle. But while the prince thought he had found the answers to his problems, it was just the beginning. Back at the palace, the prince organised all his new agencies around him. He felt like the ringmaster at the circus, giving directions, providing feedback, and organising the show. But instead of just having one agency to brief, he now had 7. He had 7 different solutions for every marketing problem. He had 7 people trying to convince him that their solution was the best. He had 7 teams presenting 7 different quotes for their services. But he still only had one small budget to go around. The prince found his days filled with briefing one agency, giving feedback to another, and so on, so that he had no time to run his brandom. He felt out of control. Everything took so much more time than when he just had his faithful Fairy Ad Agency helping him. And he often found himself wishfully wishing for the good old days when it was just him and his Fairy Ad Agency. One night, the prince had a dream that he was in the centre of a big wheel, spinning around and around, but not getting anywhere. He woke the next morning feeling strangely disturbed by this, but determined to solve the problem. He remembered back to when he first saw the 7 little agencies in the forest clearing, the way they all efficiently and effectively worked together. Then he realised the problem was not the agencies, it was him. While he was at the centre of this complex process, he'd also become the bottleneck. But how could he create a new collaborative way of working? How could he get everyone working together and aligned to achieve his goals? And how could he get Fairy Ad Agency to be part of the process too? The moral of the story is this: Brandland has become more and more complex, and to be effective and to embrace the opportunities that this new complexity provides, princes and princesses of marketing are no longer managing one agency relationship in isolation, or 2 or 3, but many relationships at once. Improving performance is not simply about how to make each agency work better, but how to make all agencies, and in fact all stakeholders, work more effectively together. The end.